The holidays are a time to feel and create joy. And what could be more joyous than the look on her face as she unwraps a stunning new jewelry piece from Blue Nile? How about getting 50% off your purchase? Blue Nile offers premium quality, priced below traditional retail. Their online experts are available 24/7 to answer any questions and make sure you've picked the perfect gift. For a limited time, you can get 50% off at BlueNile.com. That's 50% off at BlueNile.com.
Hello and welcome to the Paddock and The Pavilion with Stephen Wallace. In each show, Stephen will interview someone connected to the world of horse racing or cricket.
Hello everyone. On today's podcast, I'm pleased to welcome back Exning-based trainer Gay Kelleway to get an update on her team's fabulous work saving horses in Ukraine. Thanks for joining me again, Gay.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for having me.
Well, when we last spoke, it was on episode 117. You had just come back from your first trip to Poland about a month ago. A lot has happened since then.
It certainly has. And we set up a Just Giving account and people have been wonderful within the racing industry, especially so, considering it's just about in general for horses. But the racing folk have really stepped up and they've been absolutely amazing. You know, everybody from ARC, they donated a lot of money, and from Pam Sly to Peter Chapelheim, many, many trainers, not all of them, but many trainers. Julie Camacho pushed the Northern boys to donate. She's done a great job, very kind, and people have been, you know, I feel very humble knowing these people and pleasure of getting in touch with me and talking to me, and people I've never met before, and they're sending us donations. It's been absolutely amazing. Wonderful.
Well, I checked up before making the podcast, and on the Just Giving page, it's at 22,715. That's 56%. And you said off air you got some other contributions to add to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, Charlie Thornycroft is running the hub. Teresa is running the account. So everything's legit. And everything can be accounted for. Like we got over 1,160 bales of shavings. Went up there yesterday from Holland. And obviously that's quite expensive to do that. But it's not just a one-off. We're talking about a regular thing happening. This war, or the aftermath of this war, if it's ever going to end, is horrendous. And we need as much contributions and to keep it going. You know, it's just not a one-off. That's why I did a second trip where between Neil and Julia and myself, we managed to bring back a mother and a young girl and their dog and their horse. I got them to Holland, to the hub in Holland from our Polish border, which took 14 hours to drive straight route. And from Holland, we got them to Bordeaux, where Anne-Sophie Crombert organised a space at Bordeaux racetrack. The French were very helpful, and where they went on from Bordeaux to Porto in Portugal. So it's a run of links and chains and people in various countries all pulling together, and it's just keeping it going and keeping everybody up to date and trying to, you know, get yourself out there and meet more people that can help. And, you know, it's amazing how many people have called me or stepped up to the mark. It's amazing. It's amazing, actually. There's some really good people out there.
And are you noticing already that your work in Poland is making a difference?
I think I've changed a few people's life between us, and it has made a difference for the animals. I mean, my sister-in-law, she shows Great Danes at Crufts, and she's part of the rescue there. And it just happened the Great Dane was looking for a home, and we're working on the paperwork. They can't afford to keep the poor dog, and we found her. We're going to find her a new home in the UK, providing, you know, get all the paperwork correct, etc. So it's not just horses; it's people and animals. We're covering everything, really. If we can help, we will help. If we can try, we'll help anybody. Anybody that's in trouble regarding this war, we will help the best of our ability and through our contacts.
And pets and horses are still coming into the hub on a regular basis?
Yes, they are. Anything. We even had a Galileo 2-year-old that came in the hub the other day that's going down to Warsaw, Poland. to the racing stable there. But I mean, we get amazing type of horses, foals, Shetland ponies, all different types of animals. But obviously, it's very difficult to get horses into the UK because of the Brexit and the EU rules. Ireland's been great. We sent 2 horses to Ireland and 2 young girls with their horses to Ireland, where they both have jobs and the horses have a home. So there's been a lot of lovely stories, success stories. We're doing the best we can. Charlie's been wonderful. Without her, none of this would happen. She gave up a job at Windsor and just put her heart and soul into it. And Ben Shelbick, without him, he's Banham Transport. He does all the shipping for us. Without him, we couldn't have it. This couldn't be doable. He's already organised a big truck to go over there this weekend. We're doing something every day. I like to think I'm doing something every day that counts to help with this awful war that's affecting so many people's lives, so many animals' lives, and it's just horrendous.
You mentioned there things like logistics and planning must be probably the most important.
Yes, it is. And it's planning and in which we do between us, just a small group. We've had no funding, you understand, from any other charities. Believe it or not, Ben managed to he did his own funding and he managed to get a pony club did some funding. But apart from that, it's been us, solely us, with the Just Giving account and wonderful press coverage as well, which has been absolutely super. But it's all about funding. It can cost up to nearly €1,000 to get a horse across the border. And some horses have to wait like 4 days sometimes stood there. It's horrendous stories I've heard. And, you know, we're doing the best we can, what resources we have, you know. But it's still very, very tricky. There's a lot of corruption through the border as well, you can imagine. As much as there's very good people, there's a lot of bad people out there that are sort of cashing in from the war or, you know, they have inhumane, you know, it's just horrendous. But we're getting through that. And, we you know, it's Charlie's pretty shrewd. She's a bit of cut above average human being and she's pretty sharp on these things. But like you said, it's all about a chain and it's running that chain smoothly.
And you've mentioned Charlie several times there. How long has she actually been out there now?
Well, she went over 3 days with a rucksack on her back, rather. And she was there for 3 days and she ended up being there for 6-7 months. So, and she's continued to do so, keeping on without no payment at all. She's all charity. And I'm supporting her as best we are. And just trying to be as useful as we can. And Julia Bennett has been absolutely brilliant from Lambourne. She's my Lambourne contact. She's been absolutely a superstar. And as is Neil Carson, they've really stepped up, those two. And there's a couple of other people that have been in touch with us. Marlborough Transport wanted to take a lorry over there with Holly Doyle's father, Mark. He's volunteered. The next trip's going to be quite exciting. We've got the Racing Post going with us, so hopefully we get a bit more coverage. But this is not a one-off. It's consistent. Keep going. Every 6 or 8 weeks, we need to go over there with supplies, or I need to find more contacts to get supplies to them, either from Germany, Poland, France, wherever, Holland, and through my contacts, the best I can and the best I know how. I trust people to do the job. So it's all about a lot of trust as well.
And what things do they need the most at the hub?
Medical more than anything. Horse medical. Horses get a lot of colic and they're very dehydrated. We need to get electrolytes into them. Feed, obviously. And bedding, I've sorted that out with all those truckloads of bedding I got there. But it's still, you must understand, it's not just the hub. We actually move a lot of stuff over to Ukraine itself, where there's people like a farmer. He had 2 horses and he was bombed all around him, and he took in. I think he's got about 30 horses on his land that he's trying to feed himself. And obviously, there's no supplies, no money, and we're helping him. And as other various stables in Ukraine, we're helping because they don't want to leave their home. You can understand that. You know, they're just hoping things are going to get better.
You must know the route now between Newmarket and Lviv well, 2,800 miles.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, I know Germany inside out. Poland, and we all know the best place. We try and get the lorries to Poland because the diesel is the cheapest there. Germany's are really expensive. We've learned a lot about these different countries. Holland, wonderful people in Holland. They were so receptive and wonderful, very humankind. They've been so kind with what they've done for us. So, and as have the Polish.
And I read somewhere that where you've been, you've actually heard gunfire. You're not that far from the border.
Yeah. And I spoke to Charlie last night. I could hear the sirens going off. We've heard gunfire from where we were staying. Yeah. And it's kind of weird, and it's kind of weird. People are weird when it comes to, poor Charlie. She's had to deal with all kinds of people. Like these French came over and they wanted selfies with the refugees. I mean, what's that all about? Listen, war brings some strangest people out there. Very, very strange. And a vet turned up there, and she wasn't a vet, and she was just going there taking pictures of herself with, horses that are in a critical state. I mean, it's terrible, and this is what Charlie has to deal with, these strange people. And Charlie's such a nice person that, she finds it quite hard to trust these people. I can totally understand, So we have to try and we try and give her as much support as we can. There's just a small group of us, a dozen of us, and just giving her as much support as we can and know that we're there for her,
And when's your next trip planned?
Well, Julia will probably go out there. We'll fly her over. Believe it or not, it's only 2.5 hours to fly to the nearest airport to the hub, which is 15 minutes away, 20 minutes away, which is handy. So if we need to get, something vital over there, we can get it over. Or if she needs some more help, another pair of hands. But we actually plan to send 3 lorries over there on the 25th of June. So we're trying to gain as much supplies as we can at the moment to get over there. With there'll be a lot of feed going over there, and various head collars, ropes, buckets, anything. Electric fencing is really important, because obviously with so many landmines around, we've got to sort of fence the horses in Ukraine around. Because, like I said, a lot of the supplies is actually going to Ukraine from our hub.
As you say, this will be a regular trip, because horses must be continually going to the hub.
Yes. Yeah, and then they stay in the hub, and they rehabilitate there for a few days or whatever longer they need, and then we move them on. We have to move them legally. We have to move them on, and if they are chipped, the wonderful thing is when they're chipped, and Charlie is a matter of going on the internet, making a call, or find them on email, and finding the owners, and the owners just like overwhelmed that we found their horse that they let loose in the middle of nowhere. So there's been some wonderful stories.
And on the racing front, your stable had 2 winners at Yarmouth.
We only had 3. The other
on
one
the 18th.
We just got beat a short head for 3. I've never had 3 winners in a day. Lots of 2 winners and 2 seconds. But yeah, great. They're in great form. The small stable we have. We've got some nice 2-year-olds as well to look forward to this year. We haven't really got going yet, but it's been great. Yeah, and wonderful team at home. I never stop working anyway, so it's 24 hours for me. But I love being around the horses. I have a wonderful stable. I own myself, so I'm very, very lucky and very privileged to have some wonderful people around me. Got a good team here, and some nice horses, and some great owners who are great fun.
And you mentioned Holly Doyle's father, and Holly rode one of those winners at Yarmouth.
Yes, she did, and let's hope she wins the championship. She's got my vote, and if I can be of any help to her at all, I will give her as many, hopefully, winners as I can. I'd love her to win the championship. That'd be a dream.
Yeah, as we speak, she's top of the table.
Yes, isn't it wonderful?
It seems a long way from the day you won at Royal Ascot, isn't it?
Oh gosh, that was back in 1987. Yeah, very few women existed then riding. So, yep, it's a long way. I've covered a lot of miles and a lot of ground. I look in the mirror sometimes and think, Jesus, am I really that old? Time is free, but we have to use it wisely because it goes so quickly.
You're definitely using it very wisely at the moment, Gay. But sadly, your horse, Ocean Cloud, you've sold to America.
Yes, and the owners, they had the choice of keeping it for Royal Ascot, but they decided to send it to France to race, which is fair enough. And, you just got to take it on the chin. This is the way it is. This is the way racing is in England. You have to sell because it's a non-profitable sort of business. Having horses racing in England, you don't seem to cover your costs. Winning a race in England, an average race in the UK. So there's going to be a lot better horses at Ascot than her. You have to be a realist. You've got some wonderfully bred fillies, better bred than her. quick as she was, she's only really a sharp early 2-year-old. And when you get offered that sort of money, you can't turn it down.
But back to saving horses in Ukraine, people can still donate via the Just Giving page, and you're chasing for 40,000. Hopefully we can get that up with more coverage and further trips across.
Yes, we're chasing 40,000. So we had to give ourselves a little bit of a goal, but we're going to keep continuing as much as we can. And the money, like I said, is being used very wisely. Teresa's keeping on top of all the accounts, and it's brilliant. It's people donating every single day. Whether it be, if everybody that owned a horse donated £1, it'd be wonderful.
Well, thanks again, Gay, for joining me, and for
Thank you, Steve.
all the fantastic work that you and all your team are doing on the long straight road. I think it's not the long and winding road to Lviv. You said it was straight road.
It's a long and bumpy road, trust me, and it's hard work. And we were exhausted after the last trip. All of us was exhausted, and the team did so well. So proud of them, and we get on wonderfully well because we're doing something really worthwhile. They're not doing it for money because they're not getting paid, my volunteers. They're doing it for real passion, for really wanting to do good, So they've really stepped up. They're great, great people.
Well, you certainly are doing some worthwhile work, Gay, and thank you again for joining me.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you for listening to The Paddock and The Pavilion. You can download the show on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher and Spotify. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at The Pad and Pav. Don't forget, if you like the show, please do leave us a rating and review.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Searching for last-minute gifts? Shop the last-minute deal sale at Virginia ABC and save 20% on select 750-milliliter bottles. That's 20% off gifts for the hard-to-shop for. 20% off gifts guaranteed to fit. 20% off gifts to celebrate the season. And 20% off a little gift for yourself. Shop the last-minute deal sale at Virginia ABC. In stores and online December 18th through the 21st. Please sip responsibly.